Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Alba. Here we are in our elevator music laboratory. Well, Nazis, and they're everywhere. They're not just in the Ukraine, they're everywhere. I'm sure you know Nazis. Some of your best friends may even be Nazis. Your parents may be Nazis. Cheryl, I love Cheryl. Well, things are as they are. And my good friend, what's it called? Let's see. Close this. I can see. Yeah. Where'd it go? Anyway, my friend Dave, right? He's quite the amusing person, and I'm planning to. He has a show. He has a YouTube called Amaze. Hey there, Janie Sweetie. And so here's something that'll make you really laugh amazingly, right? So here's our boy.
Hi. Praise God. Praise Jesus. I feel good. I feel okay. I feel really good. Hi. It's me. I'm a man. Hi. I feel awesome. Look, man. I feel good. I feel okay. I feel pretty amazing. There's this one last thing in the house. Well, okay, yesterday I drank 20 cups of coffee.
Like, that's good for him.
And there's been something.
Every time he does, he goes nuts.
Allergic to coffee.
He goes nuts. It's crack cocaine.
Like, I can drink.
And he's done it for as long as I've known him. Every time he's thrown me out, he's had 20 cups of coffee. And to expect to drink another 20 and it would be better. What did Freud say? When you do the same thing over and over again, expect a different outcome. That's insanity.
Had this awful effect on me. When I drink coffee. And yesterday I thought, maybe I'll be okay.
Maybe I'll be okay.
Coffee. I had like 20 cups of coffee or something. And it was awful. It was like my mind was racing. And it sucked. And I sent these mean text messages. And then this morning I woke up, I was feeling so bad, like I had been kind of mean, but not that mean. And my mind had been racing for like 10 hours. And this guy showed up.
Not that mean.
Showed up because
there was no one there.
And it ended up being really good.
So here he is. He's going to be mean to me. I've not even been there a month.
And Al had stopped up the toilets.
Not really. This guy used a roll every time he pinches a load.
It was awful, and the entire house smelled
like look at his ears.
Like sulfur. And it was
Don't those look a little Beelzebub? Look at those ears. They're pointed.
On the caffeine, I got like an image in the shadows or something of
like when he looked in the mirror, he saw these shadows, and he saw.
It frightened me because I was going to go be a famous person once I started. I played guitar yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to leave. I'll sell my house for whatever and get money. And then
get money. Ooh.
Be a famous person. I was like already. I was like into my looks. And I was working out for. And then I got the idea.
Those pointed ears look pretty good on him.
Like, looking better and better, and he cares about this house. And I got really scared. I was like, and I got so scared. I was like frightened.
Oh, he was frightened.
And I decided not to.
And I think that's kind of where everyone is. They're so frightened of who they really are. They're not consciously aware. They don't have any conscious intent. So, but some people are. You guys, Janie, you're there most of the time. pretty much everyone who communicates, and I want to reiterate, I want to thank everyone who sent me their spare change from the couch onto my PayPal. Right? It works. It still works. Send anything you want. And when they ask the dude to wait, 42 at Gmail. So that's how that works. So send me some money because I just was able, from the hair of the chinny chin chin, I was able to service my car. So thank you very much. Oh, where is it? Here it is. Let's see if we can get Dave on the phone, because we've come up with a great idea for a radio show. Where's our boy? Here we go. There we go. It works.
Yo.
Hey there, handsome.
What's cooking? Good looking?
What was the name of our new YouTube show again? I forgot it, but now I have a piece of paper in front of me. What were we going to call it?
Well, just a second. I sent you a message. Did you read my message this morning? I sent you a really descriptive message of our stuff. Come on, man.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Never mind that.
Okay.
It's going to be called Al and Dave's All the Rave.
Alan Dave.
It's all the rave.
Alan Dave is all the rave. R-A-V?
Yes, the rave. Yes.
Okay. But what did we say?
Cover subjects, large and small.
Right. What was the thing from something to sublime?
No, I forgot now what's the word I used.
It was a great word.
Yeah, I have to go into my message. I'm going to send it to you. But it was from, I can't remember.
I thought I was the only one with Alzheimer's. What was it?
I sent you a text. I sent you a text message this morning, so it's here.
Okay, let's see if I can talk on the phone and look at the text message. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah. Let's see if I can do that. Still there?
Yes.
You're still there. Okay, we're almost to the text messaging. And there's, okay. So I'm bringing it up. Topics big and small. Let's see. Here come into you today, like every day, very much live and only. Alan Dave is all the rave show coming you from the secret nondescript location, covering all the topics big and small, from profane. That's it. From profane. Isn't that a great word? Profane. From profane to sublime. Right? Phantasma minus. Strap your suspenders on. Hold. Let's see. Hold on there. And you said go do. Okay, so there we go. So that's enough. But so here I am live on chat. And so this is our practice version of Al and Dave, all the rave, right?
So this is a trial.
Yeah, we're trying it out with an audience. It's like a test audience is there. Jamie Hiller is there.
Okay.
Big buffering happened, so we'll watch later. Bless you, heart. Jane, love you.
Am I live?
Yeah, you're live, baby.
Oh my God, man, I'm shaking in my boots, baby.
You're shaking in the boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who Chris Hedges is?
I've heard of him, but I've heard of the guy.
He's a investigative reporter. He was a war correspondent in Yugoslavia. He really covered Yugoslavia amazingly. He was in Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan, and as long as he was saying how great America was, he was fine. But once he started seeing what we were doing and started reporting on it, they gave him a hard time. And so he started having a show on, AR or whatever the Russian channel was that they just took down. And they took all of his shows. He probably had 800 shows over a 4-year period. And these are really good shows. I mean, thought out, well written, had a crew, not like me, but our shows, the Alan Dave, all the rave show will be sublime and profane because nothing else has the guts on the YouTube to be that, right? We do.
So Jefferson, so you don't have a right to man, that's all your stuff there?
Yeah, you come in, just jump in any old time and give me something to think about. Tell me a story, go on about dildos, anything. I got a whole set right here, right? I bought them here at the supermarket.
Should I tell your people about the one I found in Miami?
Why not?
Okay, here I go.
First off, no. You have to tell the background. Going to Miami, why you were in Miami, what was it like leaving where you were, and then the real amazing is like the magic carpet ride. Get on the airplane. You tell them where you live. I'm not going to say, and then you showed up in Miami. So Miami was a totally different universe, right?
Yeah, but listen, so you want me to tell them honestly why I went to Miami?
Yes.
Oh my God! Because it's a cheap trip for $4, man. I go to see some asses there.
Well, you go to see the other side of life.
Yes.
You go there to see the other side of life.
So yes, I'm a guy. I'm a curious person. I like to explore the world from both sides.
Both cheeks, as it were.
Both sides. I prefer the back side, and when I go in there, I like to go deeply explore my stuff from the back.
Deep and sincere, I understand. Yes.
Yes. I'm really a genuine person, so I go there, and Miami is strange. I know. Listen, I know people talk about Brazil, about this and that, Ipanema in Brazil. But let me tell you, I was in Ipanema, and they cannot compare to Miami.
Of course. So remember we were talking about the energy of Miami, and that was, really strange and weird and dark in lots of ways. And I was telling you about the Indians, the Seminoles, who were decimated by the Spanish, but they're still there. And that's why Miami is so weird, is that it's like caught in a time bubble. Can you shed any light on your experience in Miami in the last few days that kind of made you feel that way? Like having to sleep in the airport.
Miami has been filled with a lot of drug money from the Mexican and Colombian cartels from the 80s, 90s, and onwards.
Yep.
And karma is a bitch, baby. So that's why the energy is a little bit weird.
And also, you go back to the turn of the century and the 10s and the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and 50s and 60s of the 20th century. That was all mob money.
I don't know. I don't go that far. You know that place.
Yeah, Miami was built with that money, and that's why they then went over to Cuba.
Really?
Yes, because after World War II, they realized because mom and dad and everybody of the family was coming down there, and all those Canadians, they realized, okay, this is going to become Disney. And then Disney showed up, and that's why, they went to Cuba. Because they could really take over there. And yes, the dollar went a long ways in Cuba.
So anyhow, it's Miami this time was different because of all those shootings they had for spring break, and there was a curfew in place, so it was different this time.
So it was darker.
It wasn't easy going with that.
So what's it like to have to sleep in the airport?
For most people, people they cannot understand, but sleeping at the airport is sleeping safer than sleeping at the White House.
I get that. But you are susceptible to the changes of that environment. You got that little cold because your head got cold, right?
Yeah, I was sleeping under the freaking air conditioning or something.
Yeah. So,
But sleeping at the airport, man, it's very safe and it's very cool, and there are people who do that for years and years.
right. So it's kind of there's a tradition of it, and the cops won't rast you out of there.
Most places that won't bother you. I only discovered that since I became really cheap. Then I discovered sleeping at the airport.
Right. So, okay. So, what was your overview? So, have you been to Miami for this event before?
Yeah, I went to this event before. I think it was held. It's Ultra Music Festival for young people. I think it was held before on South Beach. It was on the sand and it was right by the water. But I think they are moving it for safety reasons downtown Miami now.
And then it didn't turn out too safe because people got shot and they had to have.
A lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs, and a lot of guns. That doesn't mix very well.
Right. It's
That's not true. You're running high, baby.
and the gunshots were mostly done by the spring breakers or the gangbangers.
Well, listen, believe it or not, more than half of those arrests.
Local people.
Makers them come down there to enjoy themselves, but local people they try to make a buck or two this way and they try to, I don't know. So local people caused most of those trouble, which I was really shocked.
Huh. So were they drunk too, or were they just wanting to?
I think it's all about drugs, baby.
Yeah. Okay. So your town is Chi Town, right?
Yes, indeed.
So what was it? So you leave Chi Town. What temperature was it?
It was, when I was 39.
Right, and you land in Miami. What is it? 80?
78.
78. So you go from 29 to 78.
Yeah.
Was that a shock? Was your body not?
Well, yeah, it was kind of. But it wasn't very, very. I landed in the evening, so it wasn't
Super hot.
heavy.
Right.
It was just a little hot, not too heavy.
So did you get off the airplane and sleep in the airport, or did you go in town?
No, I slept at the airport. Then early morning left for town.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so you have no problems sleeping at the airport. I mean, like going to sleep.
No. I recommend everybody if you find yourself stranded or need a place to sleep, stay there too. Airports are pretty great way to sleep.
Have you done that around the world?
I've done it all around the world. Bahamas, Japan, done it in Asia, many places, South America. No problem.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. That's
Especially, it's good to do that in Japan, which is very expensive. Japan and New York.
right. So which did you sleep at, LaGuardia or Kennedy?
I forgot. It's been years.
Right.
I spent only 1 or 2 days in New York sleeping at the airport. Much time in New York anyhow.
So, audience, Dave and I are going to have this show. Al and Dave, all the rave, and Dave's going to come visit me soon, right? And he's going to go into the and we're going to have that'll be a real trial because the few days that he's with me, we'll travel within a 100-mile radius of where I get him, and we'll do wherever we can go on someone's Wi-Fi. We'll do a show. So we'll do a bunch, maybe not hours long, but we'll be here, we'll be there, we'll be everywhere. Yep. And I think Al and Dave's All the Rave will be on my platform, and our other show, which will be Dave and Al All the Rave, will be on Dave's platform. So we can both use our devices. We won't be limited to one or the other.
Okay.
Yep. So anyway, that's the general gist of it. Any other kind of things you want to talk about, Dave?
Well, listen, sorry to talk about something, but right now I have to get out for the bus. So if you want to jump in later or something, but I.
Yeah, we'll talk later. You know, just you and me out there in the woods. Okay, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
I love you. Stay well. Be good. You're feeling better?
I'm having a blast. You know me.
Yeah, I know you. Good. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Yep. Ooh. That was Dave. And this is John Boy.
I'm just going to stay in this house. I don't care. I'm not going to be a famous person right now on playing music on big stages and all that famous stuff. And so I said, I'm going to stay in this house. And then I was really bad feeling for like 10 hours on caffeine, on coffee in particular, not caffeine. Regular caffeine doesn't bother me like this. I can drink this, and it doesn't bother me. For some reason, coffee hurts me.
So, Dave, you know, even when he's talking about where he wasn't talking about himself. John, all he talks about is himself. Yeah, the CMEs. Woo-wee. You know, I keep saying some Sunday everyone's going to wake up and there won't be no electricity, no internet, no nothing, right? And so, and that's, but it'll be just like today. It's almost the same. I mean, even though we have all this stuff, it's like useless and it's not who you were. I'm talking to one of my adepts, my students, who is trying, no, she's doing her best to be her best, right? And she keeps coming up against a brick wall of her life. We all do. We all come up with a brick wall. It's how every time I come up against a brick wall of my life, I say, this is a learning moment. I can get something out of this. What's going on here, right? And so that's kind of, and that's what our life is about. Our life is about having this experience of learning to be who we are, you know? Let's see if I can get Max Igon, really good person. A lot of people go, oh, blah, blah, blah about him. But he's pretty good. I like the boy. This is why we are here on Earth. Go watch his show.
You're participating in is essentially an exam. It's a soul exam. You're teaching me to be a little cog in the big machine. You're basically removing me of my life skills, and that's not what I come to school for. I thought I was going to come here to get taught about life and get taught life skills and how to be a better human being.
Learn life skills.
So I was having these arguments when I was a kid. So yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it coming. You don't
me
want
as a kid, I didn't have arguments. It wasn't until I was a freshman in the seminary
we're born, we're programmed into all this stuff by our parents. We're fed all this food which shuts us down. You know, most people's pineal gland is calcified by the time they're 8 years old.
Not me.
But when they're young, they're kids. They're seeing fairies in the garden and all sorts. So I think they disconnect us from reality, biology. And I think it's a methodical thing. And whether it was done years ago, I mean, whether we come back and do this all the time, we're just caught in this endless loop. I mean, when you look at deja vu, perhaps that's what deja vu is. Perhaps you have these experiences because you actually have done this before.
Yep.
At that point, you're always given the decision. You can always find a way out. Every time you come here, you can find a way out. You just got to move yourself out of that fear and be prepared to stand in your soul power. Right. That's the key. You can almost think of this as a form of soul purification.
And every day and every way you
after you've come back here enough times, perhaps you get to that point where you are prepared to face infinity without flinching. And I think that is the trick to getting through life. Be aware of who and what you are. That all you're dealing with is other people, just other forms of consciousness that are completely much the same as you. You all have equal value.
You may not have equal talents or equal experience or equal attributes, but you all have equal value as a form of consciousness. And perhaps you get to that point where you finally reach that clarity, and you can face infinity without flinching, and then you move on to the next point. So maybe it's something like that. I would say that's very much on the cards, but we've got to change what's in ourselves. And what we're here participating in is essentially an exam. It's a soul exam. And you've got to be prepared to face infinity without flinching. This is one of the greatest opportunities and one of the most positive times in history if you really look at it through the right eyes. With all of this stuff that's going on. It's just that people want to be saved because they don't realise they're capable of saving themselves. Simply stepping inside the whole thing. So it doesn't matter who gets in and who does what and where it all goes. Eventually they're going to come to you and say, you need to take what you can't participate. So what are you going to do at that point? Are you going to face infinity without flinching, or are you going to cower and you're going to do everything you can to avoid the one part of life which is inevitable, which is death, and choose immortality in the mainframe as a slave forever? Imagine there's only really one of us that's here, and everybody that you interact with is a reflection of the same consciousness that you belong to.
Yep.
Imagine being God. Imagine having the power of an omnipotent being. I mean, I know it's a difficult thing to do. God is somewhat emphatic.
Everyone I watch, all these people pretending to be God.
In terms of what God is not. But it'd be a pretty boring existence. You're just there, this omnipotent being. You want to do something with it. So what about shattering your consciousness into 7.5 billion fragments so you can experience yourself and discover how God became
God?
That's
what the burning bush said to Moses.
Be able to communicate with yourself.
I'm a work in progress.
And find those areas of consciousness that may be flawed and filter them out. Think of it as a form of soul purification. That all of those people who cannot face infinity without flinching, all those aspects of your own consciousness that cannot face infinity without flinching will be cast away.
So that's Igon. Go check them out. Along with David Icke, dark journalist, Catherine Austin Fitz, Joseph P. Farrell. What else? So I hope you're all doing well. Maybe see you tomorrow, because I have someone to go see now. I'm going to go see if they're there. Okay, you guys stay well. I love you. Take care. Okay? Let us try one more poem, right? We've been at this now 27 minutes. Boo, boo, boo.
Groceries to receiving, please. Groceries to receiving.
Yeah.
Thank you and have a wonderful day. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Dave. Literary Dave. This is Literary Dave here. Literary Dave, I sent you 2 of my novels. I emailed them. I hope you got them. It'd be nice if you just text message me on this number here saying, oh, yes, I got them. I am now in Boone, and I'm over at Publix, but I am about to leave. And I'm about to go to that, over where Walmart's is and the Dollar Tree is and the Food Lion is, and that stripping mall there. There is a sports bar, and a friend of mine, you might find interesting. He's quite the experienced guy. He's a warrior of great renown. And other things. That's not his only skill set. He's a deep sea fisherman, and he fished with that great deep sea fisherman novelist, for whom the bell tolls guy. And you, as a guy of literature, I thought might like to talk to him and me. I sure like to know what you thought of my two novels, because they are, as I said earlier in another voicemail to you, I said that I shoot for being like James Joyce on acid.
Ferry Department, we have a phone call. Line 101, please. Ferry Department, line 101.
Rhonda, good to see you, baby. So, Janie, everyone else, and you too, Dictionary Dave. We're speaking to Dictionary Dave, but we just got his voicemail. He's one of those people that allows people like me to have a monologue, just to go at it, to talk. And you don't know that I'm a griot, a guy who tells stories, that talks. But the rest of the cadre, you do know this. So any literary Dave, why don't you come down to the sports bar? I'm going to be there for at least an hour. So it's about, 4:20 right now, give or take. So everyone, have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, buddy. I'll keep trying. Maybe one day you'll answer the phone. And maybe one day he'll have a fun time. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this show. Again, thank you for all those who send me money, because it allowed me to fix my car so your Sensei Bob wouldn't end up dead in a ditch. He fixed my sway bar and a few other things. Were really, it was amazing. It's not amazing. It happens every time. You guys send me money, put it in PayPal, send it to the dudeawake42 at Gmail. Oh, that reminds me. Let's see. Has anyone sent me their palm? Let's see. Has anyone sent me their palm? Let's see. We'll go look at everything. All inboxes. SJC, Brent. So there's this guy, he was part of Plowshare in Roanoke. They've been around forever and have done zero, right? Except have meetings. Right? And he keeps sending me all this stuff. George Kalis, neocon war, mongering, Gorbachev on NATO. And that speech is like from 15 years ago. I guess that has a lot of relevance. It does historically. Oh, Scott Ritter, there's another one. Scott, he's the guy who was the inspector for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and said, hey, there are none here. Don't, so he did a good job. He gets a gold star for that, but he's still reliving that, still talking about that, going on about the neocons and the war machine of America. Sure, all you got to do is open your eyes. There's only been 10 years, and I'm going back to Christopher Columbus showing up. There's only 10 years of our history, of like 600 years, that we weren't at war killing someone. Not to say that we weren't killing people. We had slaves. We were killing them. Indians. We were killing them. There were migrants. We were killing them. And they just made a law about lynching. I photographed the lynching in Greensboro in 1968. The real deal. They took this, they grabbed him, they beat the crap out of him in the police department, and then next day they brought him out in his underwear, and he was black and blue all over. He's a black guy, and the blue was blacker than his black. And his nose was broken. He was bleeding out of bleeding out of his mouth, out of his ears, out of broken parts of his arm here was going the opposite way, and the bone was sticking out of that. And his underpants, because that's all he was wearing, was bloodied. So assuming he was bleeding out of those two orifices also. And they just dragged him across from the police department, and he was unconscious, and they just dragged him across his feet and leaving a trail of blood from his toes. And they put the noose around his leg and threw the rope over the Yale lynching tree and tied the rope to the end of a police car and just pulled him up till his head popped off. And there were probably 1,000 white people out there going, ah! It was like, festival, you know. And I had my large format camera, you know, and I took 10 shots with that. And when they would drag him down, I had my Nikon with my motor drive, boom, 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 boom. And then I went out and took boom, 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 boom. And I got there early that morning and saw the sheriff, showed him, I got a letter from the sheriff from the town I was in and from my editor, showed it to him, showed him my press pass. He gave me a little, you know, press pass from his sheriff office, and I wore that around my neck so no one would get me. And what I did for the 4 hours between the time I saw him and the time the festival started was I just took pictures of the town, and I saw black people in alleys and things, like looking on the sides of the thing, and I went and talked to them. I didn't take their pictures, but talked to them, and I said, I'd like to come back in a month or two and come visit you and take pictures of you and your family. I'll give you copies of those pictures. Right? And so I did, right? And they gave me the number of their minister, of 3 ministers, 3 different churches. And I got those phone numbers. Anyway, so I took all those pictures and I gave them I gave the negatives, because I worked for one of the largest newspapers in North Carolina at the time, High Point Enterprise. And that was one of the first, they had so much money. In the 60s, they went to cold type, meaning most things, guys wrote stuff on a typewriter, they gave it to a guy on a liner type machine, he typed it in and put it into these lead things that they would put onto plates, and then they'd run it through the presses, right? Cold type, guy writes on a computer, gets edited, all the different people say yes, change this, change that, they do it on the computer, hit the button, goes over to this guy, and it's this machine. Instead of a metal plate, it's a plastic plate, right? And so the computer turns that plastic into the thing they put into the printing press and run the newspaper. So that was what was called cold type. And, back in 1968, when I worked there, that's how rich and in that whole area, there was 20 newspapers. Now there's none, there's like 4 in the whole state. And pretty much that's around America. I was talking to my sister, and she goes, I don't know what you're talking about. We have a newspaper in our little town in Red Bank, or blah, 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 New Jersey. And that's because of really rich people. And it's like a newspaper about really rich people's stuff, right? And so we are in the death spiral. But hey, we've been in the death spiral. Well, when the Tower of Babel went down, we were in the death spiral. When the Empire of Mesopotamia went down, death spiral. Empire of Egypt went down, death spiral. The Greek Empire fell, death spiral. When Alexander went and conquered the world, and all those little places he conquered, death spiral. Then it was Alexander whoop-de-doo show, and then death spiral. Then the Roman Empire, death spiral. Holy Roman Empire, death spiral. Then Vatican, death spiral. Spain, death spiral. England, death spiral. America. Where else are we going to go? So, but we got nuclear weapons now. And if you want to see what happens to an empire with, real weapons of mass destruction, look at Mars. That was all the planets on this solar system had people on it. And there was where the Oort belt is now, used to be the main planet, right? And Joseph Campbell told George Lucas the whole story that was basically was Star Wars, right? And George Lucas did not give Joseph Campbell even a tip of the hat. Right? So Rhonda came in and left, right? So nobody's here, and you guys who came later to watch the show, it's so at 40 minutes and 40 seconds, I'm gonna bail out. And so I love you. hope you enjoyed the show. Um, I will try and do something tomorrow. I mean, I have a place that's, a lot closer than this. So as long as there's nobody there, I'll probably drop a show there. Anyway, I love you all. Hope you're doing well. Again, want me to read your palm? Send me a photo of your hand at the dudeawake42 at Gmail, and I'll get back to you on that Gmail. The dudeawake42 at Gmail. The dudeawake42 at Gmail. If you want to drop anything on my PayPal, I really love it because, till next week, pretty much I'm living on the change in my couch, and that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm gonna tear my place apart and start the spring cleaning. I tried to do it yesterday, and the washing machine on the outside sprung a leak and then blew up. I mean, it was like a cartoon. I fixed it once. I fixed it twice. Once when I got it, somebody threw it off the truck, and I kind of dragged it home, and I kind of fixed it. And then it blew up again once last year, and I fixed it. So I hope I can do it one more time, right? So that's it. Love you guys.